Okay, welcome back to the main interview section of today's podcast, where I'm delighted to welcome Mica Bernard to Music Fishbowl. How are you, Mica?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, very good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for wanting to come onto the podcast. I should mention how I kind of got to know yourself and your music. I saw you live at a gig at the Harrison, and we know Fox Palmer quite well, and she was performing there. So we went along to the gig, and obviously there's two other artists on the bill. You were a new artist to us, and just thought you were absolutely fantastic. So I had to get you onto the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. That was such a cute gig as well. Like the
I
Harrison's
know.
venue. It was like super intimate.
Yeah, and it's mad that venue. I actually weirdly living in London and going to gigs every week. I haven't
Mm.
actually been there since before the pandemic, and that it's changed a lot. Where you performed was once all seating, and to your left would have been the stage, of which there is now no stage. It is just everyone's on a level playing field. Where I
Yeah.
sat up at the behind sort of some weird bar thing, that was actually a bar. That was where drinks were served and everything. If you'd never been there
Oh,
before the pandemic, that's what it used to be like. Yeah,
that
it was a
mm.
so it's a very different venue, put it that way back then. Very, very different. Let's get into talking about yourself though, anyway, and your music and all of that wonderful stuff that we do here on this podcast. First of all, Misha, I'm going to ask the same question I ask every guest I have on the podcast as a first question. Sometimes easier, sometimes harder to answer, but it's a good first question. What genre would you say your music is best?
So I would say, okay, so I would say my genre of music is quite, comes under the umbrella of singer-songwriter, but then when you delve a bit deeper, I say it's soulful indie folk. It's like with me playing acoustic guitar for a lot of the music that's out at the moment, it's definitely got a lot of folk inspiration
Mm.
of independent artists, but I feel like my voice adds a little bit more of that soulful element. So I've kind of coined the phrase soulful indie folk.
Yeah, you know what? I hadn't thought of it that way, and yeah, you are right. That is the perfect way to describe it. Yeah, because you have got there is that sort of soulful element, especially within your voice. And I was listening to your music over the last couple of weeks since we sort of organised this, and one thing I noticed with your voice is that not only do you allow the vulnerability to show uh, through, not just through your writing, but through, the timbre and the way you use your voice, but it's also exceptionally powerful at the same time. Your voice, it's yeah. I don't know. I don't normally describe someone's voice to them. Actually, I don't know why I've started doing that. But yeah, that's kind of what I got from it. I don't know if that informs the way you describe your genre, but yeah, that's kind of where I go with it, I guess.
Yeah, I know they're super interesting to like hear other people's take on it for sure. And I think that comes from like that's why I use the word soulful, because I think when people think of just indie folk, they sometimes imagine a very, very soft vocal, which is something
Mm.
I do use, but not all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. Let's go chronologically, like I like to do with my interviews. Then, the first question I want to ask you now is, what was playing in the household growing up? What were the first musical sounds you were hearing? First artists, etc. That were just being played around you, so you're kind of a passive listener at the time.
Yeah, so my household was always filled with music. Being from a mixed background, so there was a
Mm,
lot of reggae growing up, like loads of reggae. Like you got Gregory Isaac, your Bob Marley,
mm,
and then my on my mum's side, she was listening to people like Annie Lennox, and sometimes a bit of Blondie, sometimes a bit of
mm.
Madonna, depends what mood she's in. And
Yeah,
then the crossover there would be then the like 90s R&B and soul. So we had like
yeah,
a lot of Tony Braxton or Lauryn Hill
yeah.
going on, Terence Trent D'Arby as well,
Mm,
Prince. So yeah,
yeah,
so much
yeah,
music.
yeah. I just want to say as well, naming lots of powerful female artists as well, which is fantastic. Just want to point it out because I'm all for that. So yeah, anyway, yeah, no, so I totally can hear sort of a lineage already to where you are as an artist as well from that, which isn't always the case when I ask that question. So my next thing now is, when did you start getting into music yourself and start start finding your own interests in music, what were you then finding?
So the very first artist that like I got a mini obsession with was because of SingStar.
Hmm.
I don't know if anyone remembers that game from the
I do.
noughties.
I
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
it's a karaoke type game that used to
Yeah.
be on like a video game. And so Alicia Keys was on one of the discs, and
Yeah.
so I got really obsessed with her song Falling, and I was
Mm.
like trying to teach myself how to sing it, and like that's
Yeah.
kind of when I realized, oh, I really enjoy singing. I think I would have been between 9 and 10.
Mm.
Yeah, very first thing.
Yeah, no, I mean it's interesting. Again, I guess that lineage is showing. I can just hear that, right? I can hear the lineage of this is interesting because I can't always. So I've interviewed probably now over 100 people, right, different artists,
Oh,
and a lot of the time I ask these questions, and there really isn't a clear movement from one place to another, if that kind of makes sense. But with you, I feel like that. Do you feel like that's the case? I guess I should ask more than anything.
yeah, I do, because around that time as well, I started to become more aware of what my like extended family were playing. Like we've
Hmm.
always had a lot of music, like even with like my grandparents and my aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
And so that's when like I started to be introduced to Fleetwood Mac and Bruce Springsteen,
Yeah.
that kind of more indie side of things, or folk guitar music, should I
Yeah.
say. And so then that definitely started to show its influence in my music as I
Hmm.
became a teenager. So you're right, there is definitely like a linear pattern of how I've been influenced, because then I discovered Mumford and Sons in my early teens,
Yeah.
and then from there I kind of fell in love with guitar music, but still had a huge love for the vocals of reggae and soul and R&B.
Yeah. And that all slides perfectly together with your music from what I've heard. So we'll talk about you becoming a musician then next. So when did that kind of take place? Now, when I say I talk chronologically, I am kind of asking a bit presumptively here because so many people, it's usually their teenage years. Hence, I ask at this stage. You may prove me wrong if you want. Feel free to. But yeah, when did you start sort of becoming a musician yourself, learning, and what were you learning, etc.?
Yeah, no, you're spot on. So in year 9, so I would have been 13, there was a like School's Got Talent competition. And so I was like,
Yeah.
no one knew I sung, no one knew I even liked music to the
Mm.
point of wanting to be a musician. And so I just entered myself, and my
Yeah.
parents were a bit shocked. They're like, oh, you're the shy kid, what's going on
Mm.
here? They hadn't even heard me sing. Like I wouldn't really sing when anyone was about. So I kind of entered the world of music just via this competition, and I sang an Adele song, To Make
Mm-hmm.
You Feel My Love. It was not an Adele song, it's a Bob Dylan song, but
Yeah.
Adele's version, To Make You Feel My Love. And so at 13, on that stage, singing in front of people, I was like, oh, I love this. And then the response I got was really positive. So I was like, oh, they like it too. This might be something to
Yeah.
explore. And then from that point on, I at this time as well, I was already listening to Ben Howard and Mumford and Sons, like just non-stop. So
Mm.
my parents decided to get me a guitar for my 14th birthday, and I started to learn the guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and then put together a little indie folk rock band during year 10 and 11. And we were called Scape because music was our escape. So, but we were a three-piece,
Yeah.
very heavily influenced by Mumford and Sons, because both me
Mm.
and the guitarist Jake just, yeah, loved them.
Yeah.
Then that's when we did our first like public gig. We played a festival in Aldershot, and from then I just haven't stopped really.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is now the part of the of my interrogation, should I call it, where I can't necessarily uh, guide, where questions go so much, because this is when it's at this point when artist stories tend to sort of all go in different directions. So you're in a band, you played at festivals. What then happened next to get Mica Bernard to where I have encountered Mica Bernard, if that makes sense?
Okay, so where I left off, I was about 16. When we went to college, we all went to different places. So that school band broke up. But during that whole time, I was writing a lot. I'd been writing since I was about 12, 10, 12, and then
Yeah.
started to put some of my own songs in that school project. And then when I went to college, I did an EPK to create my own album.
Mm.
EPK is a extended project thing where you can
Yeah.
get another A-level type thing.
I did one of them. I did
Oh,
one. Musical as well. I did a written one on the influence of the Beatles on popular music. So I know exactly what they're about. I know how they work. They are
yeah,
wonderful. Actually, I wish there were more things like this for people in education, because there's not many qualifications that give you a level of freedom like an EPK or EPQ or whatever it's called at
yeah,
any point. They change the names, don't they?
yeah.
There's not many that do that, is there? That allow that freedom.
No, no, there isn't. And so it's like that I really, really enjoyed that because at the time
Yeah.
I decided to study musical theatre because
Mm.
during my school life and my college life, musical theatre kind of just like pipped guitar music to the post of where I wanted to go.
Mm.
Like I thought I wanted to be in theatre. And then during my time there, I absolutely have a passion for singing musical theatre and for acting, but I didn't enjoy the dancing so much, and I didn't enjoy the culture slightly different. It's kind of more
Mm.
showy, and actually I
Yeah.
realized I was watching everyone else rather than this
Yeah.
being part of the drama crew.
Mm.
And the opportunity arose for us when we were doing musical theatre to put on our own version of. At first, it was we did the Arabian Nights kind of thing,
Mm.
and my drama teacher asked me, "Oh, do you want to just write the music for it?" So instead of really being in it, like I had a very small role in it, I then just like wrote music for the show, and I
Yeah.
absolutely loved this. And so then we did that again for Midsummer Night's Dream, and I got to do the music for that. And so by the time I was making decisions of where to go for uni, I was like, okay, it's definitely going to be like music centered rather than
Mm.
musical theatre. And then from there, I went to music college where I did my degree and
Mhm.
met people that then formed Misha and the Midnight Blue. So now I'm 18 through to like this is a long story.
Yeah.
A
No,
long
you
time.
carry on. We like long stories here. We love long answers. It makes my job easier as an interviewer, but also my guests are way more interesting than me. So carry on.
I'm not sure that's true. Oh,
Thank
but
you.
no.
Go on.
The music I made at college for my EPQ,
Mm.
then I was like, oh, I don't really want to do this on my own. I miss having a band. Like I got really
Yeah.
like scared. And so I met people at uni. I was like, oh yeah, do you want to be part of my band? Like, do you want to form something? And we created this very like reggae folk band. And it was just
Mm.
my name, Misha Jane at the time, because my name is
Yeah.
Mica Bernard. So this was my first like solo project that then had a band around it.
Mhm.
And that was a 3-piece. And we had the Butterfly and the Lion EP, which is, as you can listen to under Misha Jane. I mean, you can hear where the music has like grown to now.
Yeah.
It did have reggae influence, and then that band got another member, and we've eventually formed Misha and the Midnight Blue, where we became a bit more rocky, like an indie rock
Mm.
folk band. Because some songs we play electric guitar for, some
Yeah.
are acoustic. And we did a UK tour. We were together for about 4 or 5 years as a whole band, did lots of
Mm.
festivals, played Jurassic Fields, and had some really cool opportunities. And then we just went our separate ways at the start of 2024. And that's when I was like, I'm gonna go solo again. Like I've
Mm.
been writing all of this music. Like even with that band project, I was the writer for it all. So I was
Yeah.
like, the songs started off solo. Let's strip them right back and kind of see where
Mm.
we take them. So spent 2024 exploring that, recording
Mm.
my EP, or choosing songs for EP, and same with 2025. And then that's what led us to the To Every Dreamer EP. I really wanted to create something that was just me, just the songs at their very like stripped back state. Like I played everything
Yeah.
on the EP. I didn't want anything to sound like too far from what people would hear when they come and see me live. Other
Yeah.
than the fact that I can't play guitar and piano at the same time.
Yeah. Well, there is that.
And I'm learning how to use track so I could potentially like have piano parts. But yeah, that's kind of what led us up to now, is where you find me in 2026 doing my solo stuff. Is that at the end of 2025 I decided I love performing live. I did a lot of live stuff with the band, and then I missed out, like I didn't do so much during 24 and 25. I was like, this is what I just want to do. I just want to gig my solo stuff and reach as many people as possible.
Yeah, no, I mean, I need to say a huge congratulations to you as well on the EP, because it is absolutely fantastic. So I do need to say that as well, and I will talk more about that in a bit. But you said something there that really interested me, and it interests me thinking about what you're doing now, put it that way, because you mentioned about how, you know, theater and, you know, musical theater is kind of, it is a bit more what was the word you used, was it showy or something along those lines? It's a bit more like yeah, upfront and showing what you can do, whilst you've decided now to strip it back almost, which to me I can see like, well, okay, so you moved out of the musical theater sort of world a bit and moved into a world where you could strip it back and not have to be showy and just let your work do the talking, right?
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, and there's a reason for that. There's lots of reasons for that, but I think the biggest one is that when I graduated, I was asked by a music charity to come and take part in the sessions they created called Lullaby Sessions, which are singing on neonatal intensive care units. So this is babies who are born like very premature or very sick. And so my job became, which I still do now, I've been doing it since 2019, so quite a while.
Yeah.
I go and sing on these units and sing to these families and to these babies, and I just realized like how like the essence of the music, like the voice, like the intention of the calmness and the love, like that's at the core, like that's what really matters, that what creates the memories for those families and what connects them to me, the music and the moment. So I was just like, oh, that really influenced me in making music that was, yeah, I guess a little bit more intimate during this era.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. I also want to say kudos to yourself for having that job as well, because that must be not only fulfilling, but also must have its challenges and everything that goes with it, I can imagine. So kudos to you. It's, yeah, it very, very noble profession to have, very noble and very unique as well, I want to say. Not many people get the chance to say they've done that, right?
Yeah, it's super unique, and I always think, like lots of people, which thank you for saying that.
That's
And I
okay.
think the so what I get to see is the amazing work that the nurses do and the doctors do, and to be a part of that, like just to help in the way that I can. I didn't train in medicine, but
Yeah.
I like music is my way of like healing, and
Yeah.
so I just love being able to be a part of that and to help in any way
Yeah.
I can, especially like because I have like family history of having one of a member of my family had a troubled birth, and they're all good
Yeah.
now. But as a family, we experienced that and know how hard it is. So anything I can do to ease those moments, I do. I feel very humbled by it, for sure.
No, 100%. And, you know, you're also very right when you talk about, you know, you're saying the music is effectively doing the talking for you in your role, but also at the same time, you're looking at how you're delivering that music for a purpose and for a space and for what you're doing. But that's the same within the music industry as well. There's, you know, there's a great art to being a showman, but there's also a great art to knowing exactly how to show your music in the best way possible. And sometimes it just needs to be, this is me, I'm opening, I'm allowing you inside to my head, my heart, my, you know, whatever parts you feel your songs come from. But, you know, there is an absolute art to that in and of itself. And in many ways, I personally, as someone who's a fan of the music I'm a fan of, I think that's harder to do. I think it's a much more difficult skill to have, because it is actually, showmanship can be a show. It's a show. So it is a mask, right? Whilst I think with that style of performing, and I guess you're doing it all day at work as well as when you're playing live too, which must be super hard. But that's difficult, right? Because you're allowing people in and opening up that side of you that most people do keep shut.
Yeah, I think that is incredibly difficult as well. I can't speak for the past industry, I can only speak for the current music industry, but where we're encouraged to give so much outside of the performance as well, like via social media and having this presence. And it's just like, I found it very challenging to differentiate myself from my like act self or the artist self, because me as an artist, I literally I'm just doing me. And so in order to protect myself, I've had to like try and find ways to separate the two slightly. But then the beauty of my music is the fact that it is so purely just me being honest about like what I've experienced, what I've witnessed, and what I'm feeling, and how I want to help other people feel comfortable and comforted. So it's really hard to like put a mask over something that is just so genuine as it is. Do you see what I mean?
No, I do, yeah, because you almost feel you feel bad for doing it, I guess, as well, don't you? Like you want people to see the real side of yourself, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I know how you feel, because Dan Wicks the presenter is very different to Dan Wicks the artist, and I know that, and I can say that about myself. So I know how you feel. Yeah, I do definitely get that. I want to talk about your artistry though as well, so we'll speak more about that now, and that will lead us, should I say, into the EP as well. When it comes to songwriting, I don't like this question. I ask it a lot, but I don't know how else to ask it. It's more the way I ask it. Do you, when you are writing, is there a particular set of themes or ideas that you feel you gravitate more towards when you write, or do you just go where the wind sort of blows with it, really?
Yeah, so I think the themes that tend to circle in my subconscious are mainly to do with mental health, race, being a woman, and love, because I don't think you can be a human being and not write about love. I think that like I think it's impossible. We feel love in so many different ways, whether it's romantic love or platonic love or family love for children and things. So there are my four main subjects, I think, because being, especially with the race thing, like being mixed race, there isn't a lot of music, and Loyal Kano spoke about this a lot, and I really like thank him for that. There's not like a lot of music or a lot of places where that represents the mixed experience. And so that is something that it is my experience, and I've been able to articulate through a few of my songs, like such as Human Beings and Ripples, and more to come. But I think for me, it felt important to voice my experience, because I can only be like, what's the word? I can only articulate very clearly what I know, not what I'm doing.
No, and yeah, as I say, in many ways that is we're talking about what is difficult to do when it is as a songwriter, and sometimes it can be quite an actual feat to be able to do that, because you're trying to articulate an experience that, as you say, is underrepresented. There's a lot of people who have never experienced it as well. You've also got your own individual experience, let alone the experience of a group as well, and you've then got to make that a song that everybody can have, or you can try to make it a song that everybody has some kind of relation to, right? Or that they can get that, or you can get that feeling extracted from them through the song. Is that something that you try to do?
No, I think when you try, sometimes it has the opposite effect. And if you just allow yourself to say what you feel like you need to say, then someone's going to hear it and someone's going to resonate with it. And I think if you're trying to resonate with people, then your waves are too loud, and it's going to just just be deafening, rather than if you're just like speaking your true voice, then people will like inevitably connect.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can see that. I can see that. I mean, also you said something when I saw you live. You said something that struck a chord with me. I always strive and do my best I can to ensure that my podcast and my platforms are as liberal as possible, because that's the person who I am, and I want to make sure that that is what the product I produce also is. And from me saying that, you'll know why this probably struck a chord with me. You said effectively, you said that in a world where people are trying to divide us, um, divided people are people who can be controlled. And there's only one race in the world, and that is the human race. And that just struck a chord with me massively. And yeah, you kind of summed up that exact phrase in what you said there, right? It's in everything that you find that you write about. I guess that fits in everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And definitely, like I think that is so true. Like there are so many things that have been fabricated by the world that we live in today that just
Yeah,
aren't real. These social constructs that are
yeah,
designed to oppress. And um I think they're just so blatantly obvious that
mm,
like people have become blind to them, because it's just like
yeah,
take it as, well, that's just how it is. And it's not like race was designed to segregate people.
yeah.
Like there wasn't a race thing
No,
before. Like it was actually invented, and we are just one human race. But that also
yeah,
carries across, unfortunately, to things like gender and sexuality,
mm,
and
yeah,
also um like finances, so
yeah,
class, they say. So I think the more people realize that actually, nope, we're just born here, and we're all equal to one another, and we can all help each other just have a better experience on this
yeah.
planet whilst we're here for a very short time, then I don't see how that could be anything but positive.
No, people are more powerful when they're together, right? I mean, I look at it this way. I look at it this way. If you were to say to somebody who has, I'm going to say, certain opinions on certain things, if you said to them, "Do you believe in freedom? Do you believe in, you know, equality? Do you believe in love, empathy, etc., and all these things?" Anything a libertarian would believe. If you said that to them, they would undoubtedly say yes. And then if you go, "Okay, so why do you believe this then?" They then have no answer. And that
Yeah.
just shows how I'll say it's wrong. They're wrong. That's it. Purely it. That's how I view it. So
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think yeah, it's true. And that's what I love about your music, is that you draw from that and create this incredibly human piece of work that just is that lived experience, and it's right there, and that will lead me into the EP. So fantastic EP that you released earlier on this year, To Every Dreamer. It's brilliant, by the way. I have to say, you've got 4 exceptionally good tracks here, so exceptionally well curated by yourself, because they are all phenomenal, I have to say. And I'm going to ask about a few of them, if that's okay as well. But first of all, I just want to ask how the EP came to be. Where did it come from, the idea to get the EP out? How did that happen?
So, when the band project broke up in January 2024, I kind of realized that everything that I'd worked towards was now like in the past rather than ahead. Like all the ideas that I was hoping, all the things I was hoping to achieve, and so I had to change lane of my dreams slightly, and trying to like go back to myself. And so I decided I wanted to create an EP that I didn't edit myself too much
Hmm.
on. Like, so I didn't want to overcomplicate it. I wanted to keep it to 4 or 5 tracks. Originally
Mm,
started out with 5, and then I felt like I was just forcing the last one, as in
yeah.
it was written, but it wasn't sitting with the other 4. Felt like
Yeah.
it was part of the next chapter. And so luckily my friend Tyler Davies, he just started his own studio, Sleep Talk Studios, and so he invited me to like come in and record some stuff, because all of these songs were fully formed. They were ready and they were waiting to be released.
Yeah.
And I've just been sitting on them because they either the band hadn't got round to doing their version of them, or I just hadn't brought them to the band because they felt too personal.
Yeah.
And so the concept for To Every Dreamer was, I feel like that there's a fine line. I do admit this, because you can't just live your life being a dreamer. But I think we are encouraged to dream too less in a way. Like,
Yeah.
I think dreaming is actually a really positive thing. Like, I think with that comes ideas and comes innovation, comes creativity. And so I wanted to write this as an ode to people who are brave enough to dream a little bigger and go for the thing that's not just comforting, and like, allow themselves to live a life that is better than the one that they're currently living.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a lovely sentiment, and I agree. I do wholeheartedly believe that innovation only happens when we look to go somewhere that we don't know exists yet, if that makes sense. And that's what dreaming effectively is, right? Having a dream to do something is that. I want to ask. I've got two songs I want to ask about. They're my two favorite tracks on the EP. The first one I want to ask about has an exceptionally interesting name, so you probably know what it's already going to be. But don't let the interesting name take away from what the song is about and its message, is what I say to listeners, because the name is the hook to get you in, but then when you hear the song, you'll go, wow, this is amazing. Tom and Geriatric, this song is fantastic. Please, can you let the audience know what it's all about, if you're comfortable to, of course?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically the title came about because it's a song about feeling like you've got whiplash from your childhood. Like you're a kid, you're a teenager, and then all of a sudden you're an adult, essentially. But deeper than that, like for me personally, it was a song where I was expressing kind of my anguish in the choice between carrying on to give all my energy to a career, or going and having a family. And so that's where the term geriatric comes from, because medically you're considered a geriatric mother if you're age 35 plus. And I'm not there yet, but I just felt like that puts so much unnecessary pressure on women to, like, I don't quite really know why it's necessary to say like geriatric as a term. And so the idea came about, like, as a pun, the combination of, oh, okay, Tom and Jerry, everything's really kidsy and fun and cartoony, and then oh no, all of a sudden you're Tom and Geriatric. And so that's where the title comes from. And so the song is kind of a journey, or a personal journey, of like that reflection of like, oh, am I running out of time to be a mother? I know that a lot of female artists and musicians, or females in general who want to have a creative career, struggle with like, oh, when to have a family, because they're the person who has to sacrifice so much, because you can't physically go on tour and like be pregnant or have a newborn baby. Like as a female, I don't think it's quite possible. So I was speaking about that, and then I was speaking about the pressures of being in your mid-20s and like trying to save money to buy a house, trying to also have a good time, because we're in our 20s, right? This is supposed to be the time of life, and trying to balance those things. And then how ultimately that just like climaxed into being like a cloud of like, okay, I don't know what to do. I'd like, hence like the chorus lyrics of why do I feel so low? Tell me, why can't I take control? And that then led into the bridge, which I felt like just wrote itself when I was driving. I often write when I'm driving, like in my head, I just sing things through. And it was kind of like a monologue in a way of being like, if I had a younger sister and she was coming to me with these things, like what would I say to her? And so the bridge came out of that idea of being like, No, you know where you are. You have got this. You can't be everything at
Yeah,
once. And like just hold fast, really.
yeah,
And I wanted that to be a message not just to women but to men as well, because I
mm,
feel there's a lot of pressure on all of us to
mm,
to be the best versions of ourselves all the
yeah.
time. And actually we just need to be maybe a kinder version to ourselves, and then that's enough.
Yes, exactly. No, I 100% agree, and that is why I say, obviously it's got the song's got this great name, but what's behind that name means so much. So it's definitely worth people letting the name be the hook, and then go in and sit down and have a deep proper listen, because yeah, it's an amazing song, and you performed it live as well when I saw you, and it was fantastic live. We all, well, when you played it, we were all looking around at each other going, oh, this is rather good. So like, okay, yeah, cool. I want to ask about one more song as well on the EP, and this is my favorite song on the EP. I think it's got the most, I'm going to say, in production to me. You might not to you, but to me, it definitely has the most beautiful sounding production, right? It's just got this lovely ambient quality to it that I adore. And it's a song called Open Spaces.
Wow.
Can you tell us more about that one, please, if that's okay?
Yeah, of course. So I think arguably this is the song that's closest to my heart.
Mm. I'm
Um,
glad I picked well. I picked well.
yeah, you did. You did pick very well. Um, yeah, so that song I wrote like just after lockdown. I can't remember which
Mm,
version of lockdown, but essentially
mm,
my very first nephew was born in the July of
mm,
2020, and he was born in another country, so like I couldn't
mm.
see him. And it was lockdown, we couldn't visit, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like what is this feeling? Like I have so much
Yeah,
love for this person, this being that I've never met. And then eventually I got to meet him and seeing him grow up, and just this love is so different to what I felt before.
yeah,
And I think most artists or most creatives can say that they have their down days. I think when you're so open to receiving the messages and emotions of the world, it's very hard to not let them get you down
mm,
sometimes. And so he became like the thing that would always be able to make me feel alive again. And then
mm.
I've been blessed with having two more nephews and a niece, and so each time one of them was born, it was like, okay, there's even more things to make me feel alive, and
Yeah,
their light just, yeah, reminds me of all the beautiful things in the world. And so the verses are kind of like that isolation of feeling low and just battling with like mental health issues, like with being positive all the time or
yeah,
down. And then the choruses are like, yeah, but your babies, like you've got your family. And I think there are I wanted to create a song that just acknowledged the people that really bring the light into
yeah.
your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's important to do that. I think so many songwriters find it very easy to write about the glum moments, the heartbreaks, the tough times, but in reality, there's still the good's still there. The reason they're hard times is because the good's there, and you've got a comparison to that, right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, and I think I like that you enjoyed the production on it, because
Mm,
I think Open Spaces was the oldest track, like before it was
yeah.
recorded. It was the one that I'd written the earliest, but
Mm,
the harmonies and the backing vocal of the I love you bit, that only really came when I'm living with my niece at the moment. She's
mm,
18 months, 19 months, and that only really came when I was spending time with her. And I was just like, oh, this is what this feeling sounds like. And so I'm glad
mm.
that you enjoyed the production.
Yeah, no, I did very much, very much, as I do across the whole EP, and it's a stunning piece of work. So I definitely wholeheartedly recommend that everyone goes and listens to Every Dreamer, because it's just a fantastic set of 4 tracks. I have to say, it really, really is. Misha, I need to say a huge thank you to you. Obviously, we'll have a quick chat afterwards, just to debrief, so to speak, after the podcast. But I need to say a huge thank you to you for coming on. I want to give you an opportunity now, though, to let everybody know where they can find not just your music, but also find yourself online as well. So social media and stuff.
Oh, well, thanks, Dan. Like, thank you so much for having me. It's been so
Yeah,
wonderful to
not a
chat.
problem.
If you want to find my music, it's on all streaming platforms. My latest EP, To Every Dreamer, that we've been chatting about, is available, and you can find it at Mica Bernard Music on Instagram. It tends to be where I'm at as like my most active social, and that's Mica Mica, which will probably be written down somewhere, and
It will
Bernard.
be.
Yes, and that's my handle, Mica Bernard Music. And yeah, you can also join my newsletter where you hear about my latest releases, my good news stories about my lullaby sessions, and also my gigs, because I'm running my own show on the 12th of August.
Ooh, where's that? So people can know.
That is going to be 21 Soho. I'm starting a
Mhm.
new project called Foreign Exchange, or For Change,
Mm.
which is encouraging artists to gig swap with people from different cities and countries, because I basically want to get like people touring without the need of like a whole tour group, essentially.
Mm.
So it's, yeah, Foreign Exchange, and it'll be at the 21 Soho on the 12th of August.
Excellent, perfect. Well, Misha, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. Really do appreciate it a lot. All the handles and everything that you need to find Misha will be in the description below, whether you're watching on video or just listening on audio. But Misha, thank you so much for coming on to Music Fishbowl. Been great chat.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
No problem. Thank you.